I declare and claim
Okay, what's your name?
Article
David.
3 court jurisdiction and diplomatic immunity.
What's your name?
Sherry Garlock.
Oh, no, I'm not talking to you, ma'am. I'm talking to someone else. What's your name, sir?
David Dreifout.
And we got you. I got one more person. I'm looking at him. He's doesn't want to tell me his name. I don't know which file is yours, sir. What's your name?
So again, before I can
Sir,
proceed with
Listen
my
to
name,
me. Listen to me. If you want credit for being here, I have to know what
before I
file
can
to
proceed
attach
with
this
my
to.
name,
If you
I
keep
like to
talking,
give you a notice and declaration. I
Sir,
revoke, resign, cancel,
you're just going to
void,
get
and do not
a
consent to
warrant.
any power of attorney I may have authorized. I declare and claim Article 3 jurisdiction and diplomatic immunity.
All right, listen to me. If you don't give me your name, you're just going to get a warrant out for your arrest for not being here because I don't know who you are. What's your name?
So before I
One
can
more
state my
time.
name,
Okay, then
I
we're
want
done,
to
sir. We're
clarify.
going
I have
to
some questions, Your
listen.
Honor.
No, if you don't tell me your name, then what we're going to do is remove you from this hearing and you will not get credit for being here. And like everyone else who doesn't show up, you'll get a warrant for not showing up unless you tell me who you are.
So let me see if I'm understanding this correct. So you're telling me that you're gonna put the creditor in jail?
Sir, I'm going to give you credit for being here, even though you're being difficult, if I can figure out who you are. If I can't figure out who you are, I'm just going to dismiss you from the hearing, and all the people who don't show up today are going to get warrants for not being here. I have two people who are here and ready to go. You're here ready to go, but I do not know who you are. So I give you one more chance to tell me what your name is.
Is this a court of record, Your Honor?
Yes, it is. We're on the record right now.
So we are on the record. So for the record, thank you, Your Honor. I like to have I have a couple questions to ask you, if you don't mind.
And you have one more chance. The next words out of your mouth need to be your name or we are done. He's out. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, you are here to be arraigned on traffic misdemeanors. Sorry about that. Sometimes we get difficult human beings who don't think that they're actually subject to laws of this land.
Where's my?
All right, so we are here on this citation. It was issued on October 25th of this year on 124th Avenue there, City of Fenville, Allegan County, State of Michigan. It's a civil infraction for failure to yield right away involving an accident. Mr. Jones, you're here on this citation to do one of three things. First is you could admit responsibility to the citation, or two, admit responsibility, but you'd like to provide some sort of explanation as to how or why this happened. Or three, you wish to contest this citation. In other words, fight the ticket at what we call informal hearing. What were you looking to do?
I'm looking to contest the citation, Your Honor.
All right. Then the first thing I'm going to do is swear all three of you in. Anyone who might be testifying, if you raise your right hand. Swear or affirm any testimony that you give here today would be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Jones, it makes a lot more sense to me to start with the deputies. They have the burden to establish to me why you were issued a citation in the first place. But after that, you'll have an opportunity to either ask questions or testify in your own behalf. All right?
Your Honor, could I address the court real quick here?
Yes?
You are going to be the decision maker today, correct?
Correct.
I would I know I have history in Allegan County. I recently had, every judge in Allegan County disqualified from hearing my cases.
Mr. Jones, I am familiar with who you are.
I would request at this time that an out-of-county judge be appointed to conduct this informal hearing, as I know for a fact you and I have filed civil litigation involving you. In the past, I fear that there's an appearance, at the very least, an appearance of impropriety or judicial bias. And I would ask that you remove yourself when we reschedule this, and then you ask Scale to appoint an out-of-county judge to hear this matter.
Here's what I would say to that. One is, I do think that your argument has a merit there, but I suspect it's when it involves a possible incarceration, in other words, a criminal case. This is a civil case, meaning the worst thing that can happen to you here is a fine. So I don't think it has the same strength of argument that you would be requesting a different judge. I will tell you this is informal hearing. You don't have to have informal hearing. You can go to what's called formal hearing, and then you would have the option of the district court judges. I don't know if you're familiar with both of them, Judge Belargent, Judge Scotchless. Would you have the same issue with both of them?
Both of them, I filed civil litigation. Both of them have recused themselves from my previous cases. And Your Honor, I would say that even though incarceration is not a potential outcome of this matter, I have a Class A CDL. That's how I make my money. That's my livelihood. And this citation would affect my ability to obtain and maintain my employment. And I mean, you're talking, that's a $90,000 a year hit. I'm just not willing to risk that. When there's any kind of appearance of, potential.
Put it this way, Mr.
bias.
Jones, I'm not going to have us go forward today with the informal hearing, because there is, at least at this point, I don't know whether or not you would have the same right to request a recusal on civil as there is criminal. But I don't see real point in us going forward with an informal hearing if you in fact do have a right to request that. Because I think that should at least be decided upon. So what I will do is essentially what I would suggest we do is set this for formal hearing in front of the chief judge of district court, which is at this point in time Judge Scotchless, and essentially you would make the same sort of argument, and we'll let him have a rule of whether or not it would really need to go all the way to out-of-county judge. I suspect, as I suspect happens a lot with Judge Scotchless, that he usually says that, he doesn't have a reason to recuse himself because he considers it to be that, he certainly wouldn't have a prejudice on this. But I think we'll at least let him have the decision on that. So if you agree with that, we won't proceed today, and I will just set this in front of him. And then before you would proceed, you'd make that same argument, and I'll give him a heads up so he'd be able to look into whether or not you have the same rights to request a change of judge on civil. I just, to be quite honest with you, not sure what the answer to that is. I'm going to have to look it up myself. But if that's amenable to you, then that's how we'll proceed at this time.
It is, but it isn't. I mean, I object to the fact that I'm going to have to forego my informal hearing to be heard by a judge who has no.
I think it would be also possible for that judge to rule that you would in fact be able to have an informal hearing first, but simply in front of the appropriate judge, whether we decide it could be anybody here on district court or not. I understand what you're saying. Essentially you'd be missing one free bite at the apple. So let's just put this on hold, and I will articulate the argument for Chief Judge and see what he thinks. All right.
Thank you. Could I put one more objection on the record? I see that there's a male officer about to testify, or was about to testify. I was told by several people that this would be a formal hearing or an informal hearing between myself, a magistrate, and the officer who wrote the ticket. I would like to know why this other officer gets to put his input. I haven't seen anything he's written. I'm just going to object to that.
I'm assuming that might be the training officer. So they were probably both in the car that night.
So the officer who wrote the ticket is still in training?
I don't know, but Deputy Haskell, were you present that evening?
I was.
Or not, I don't even know if it was evening. I don't know what it was. But you
I
were
was-
present for this?
I was, Your
Afternoon?
Honor. I was her trainer.
All right. So he can testify as a witness.
Okay, then why didn't he write the ticket? I guess would be my question. I mean, I would just want to get this on the
Well,
record. Why didn't he
Now
write the ticket?
we're
then?
sort of opening up the hearing,
All right,
which is what
all
we
right.
weren't going to do. So,
All right, all right,
I'm going to go ahead and release you. Thank you.
all right. Thanks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, can you hear me?
You are Terry Jo Clark.
Yes.
All right. Just to let you know, ma'am, you have a bench warrant on a felony case for being a no-show. It's not what's up here today, but you may want to take care of that. You do have a warrant out for your arrest.
Well, I called the office right away when I
I don't know,
realized,
ma'am.
because I
That
thought
usually
I
means
had,
you did not show up for a felony court date, so they issue a warrant. You could call, but you probably would have to turn yourself in or come in front of that judge. But this is a different matter. This is from July 30th of this year, 138th Avenue, Lake Town Township, Allegan County, State of Michigan. So this is a misdemeanor for violation of a learner's permit.
correct.
That is punishable by up to 90 days in jail and or $300 fines and costs. Do you understand the charge?
Yes, I do.
Do you wish to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty to that charge at this time?
Guilty.
All right. Ma'am, are you contesting? Are you having court dates on your OWI 3rd?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Okay, you have a drunk driving third offense as part of this same incident, right?
No, I have nothing on that about that.
Okay.
I know
Were
that
you
she
born-
had mentioned
are you-
that.
7th, 1963?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. You were charged with a felony OWI third offense that same night.
yes, but that was, I was not drunk at the time and she sent for blood work and I've never received anything back on any of that.
Oh, all right. I was just cautioning you against pleading guilty to this if you have pending felonies, but that's fine if you wish to plead guilty. Anybody force you or threaten you to make you plead guilty?
No, I'm just like very confused.
It's
Because
just a
what?
ticket, ma'am. They can't charge you with OWI third on the ticket, but I do see they marked it as OWI third, so you may
Well,
have.
she did, but the
pending
blood work
felony.
did not come back convicting me of anything.
Well,
I was
ma'am,
not
I
drunk at the
doubt.
time.
Okay, and that may be true. Anybody force you or threaten you to make you plead guilty?
No,
Are you pleading guilty to this because you believe you are guilty of this?
yes,
Were you operating a motor vehicle here in Allegan County at that date and time I spoke of?
yes,
And at that time, were you driving outside of the parameters of your learner's permit?
yes, I was driving alone.
All right. So I do find that as a factual basis upon which I can accept your plea and that your plea is knowing and voluntary. It will be just fines and costs at this point. What we mean by that is a $10 fine. With that, our statutory costs of $30, crime victims' rights fee of $75, on state cost of $50. So it's a total of $165. I'm going to put right on here that you have 90 days to pay that. If you need more time than that, that's fine. You might want to punch this up 2333614 FD. So you have a different felony besides OWI third currently?
What was it?
No,
233614 FD. Then, ma'am, you do have a felony case.
Operating while intoxicated.
They did charge you with operating while intoxicated third offense, and you missed a court date. That's why you have a warrant out. You're going to want
I
to
have never received any paperwork back about that whatsoever.
All right. Well, I don't know what to tell you,
I
ma'am,
was
other than
assuming, as
be
rightly
careful
so, that
outside of your house. You're going to get arrested if you come across the police agency. You need to turn yourself in on that warrant and figure out what's going on.
I don't know anything about it. What am I supposed to do? Why didn't I get any information? How am I supposed to know that?
Yeah, I don't think.
Oh, then you haven't been arraigned yet.
There's a $1,000 cash bond just out.
Yeah, but you have a $1,000 cash bond. Until you post that bond, you could be picked up, so you're gonna wanna get in touch with a lawyer or get in touch with the jail. But
They
I,
issued it on November 3rd. They
What's that?
issued it on November 3rd.
it was issued on November 3rd, ma'am, so a lab must have come back. All right, you're
I
all
have-
set.